Fellow South Africans, today I stand before you to speak a truth that many fear to voice. While we successfully ended the evil of apartheid 30 years ago, we have allowed a new form of exploitation to root in this beloved country of ours. The very government that promised to liberate us has become nothing but our new oppressor, not through racial segregation, but through systemic corruption, incompetence, and the shameless pillaging of public resources. Yes, apartheid ended. Let us never forget that monumental achievement. But ending one injustice does not grant anyone a license to perpetuate new injustices. Liberation from racial oppression should not have to become an excuse for economic oppression. Freedom from white minority rule should not have become a gateway to black elite enrichment at the expense of the masses. When Nelson Mandela walked free from Robben Island, when we cast our first democratic votes in 1994, when we adopted our magnificent constitution, we believed we were entering a new dawn. We believed that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people would finally serve the people. Instead, what we got was a government that has systematically betrayed the trust placed in it. A government that has treated the state not as a vehicle for service delivery, but as a personal ATM for the politically connected. A government that has confused liberation credentials with blank checks to steal from the very people they claim to represent. The African National Congress led us to freedom. That is their historical legacy, and it cannot be taken away. But historical legacy does not entitle anyone to perpetual power, and it certainly does not entitle anyone to loot the public purse while children go hungry and schools crumble. Let us be brutally honest about what has happened since 1994. The apartheid government stole our dignity, our rights, and our opportunities. The post-apartheid government has stolen our money, our hope, and our future. Consider the magnitude of what has been taken from us. State capture. Between 2009 and 2018, it is estimated that over 500 million rand was stolen through state capture networks. That's money that should have built houses, schools, hospitals, funded the AIDS institutions, and so forth. Instead, it built mansions for the Guptas and their political enablers. While families live in shacks without running water, without electricity, the politically connected lived in luxury funded by your taxes. Municipal corruption. Across our country, our municipalities have become feeding thorough for cadres who see public office as business opportunities. Towns like Mokaka and Maluti Apofung have been confused, pardon my Greece, not because of legacy, but because of post-apartheid corruption. Mayors drive luxury cars and streets remain with potholes, while the politicians you know and love fill their bank accounts. Remember the SOE looting, SABC, PRASA, Denel, once proud institutions reduced to shells by systemic looting. Eskom alone has consumed over 300 billion rand in ballouts while plunging the country into darkness. Load shedding became a daily reminder that liberation does not guarantee electricity, competence does. Tender corruption. The phrase tenderpreneurship has entered our vocabulary because it describes a uniquely South African phenomenon, the use of government tenders, not to deliver services, but to enrich the party loyalists you vote for. Schools built that collapse within months. Roads are constructed that wash away with the first rainfall. Hospitals receive equipment that doesn't even work. For 3 decades, we have been fed a steady diet of excuses. Every failure is blamed on apartheid legacy. Every scandal dismissed as the work of rogue elements. Every critic like me is labeled as a racist or an enemy of transformation. These excuses have become the government's comfort blanket, but they offer no comfort to the unemployed youth, the patients dying in collapsing hospitals, or the children learning under leaking roofs. Do I have to remind you of the Life Esidimeni tragedy? Yes, apartheid created massive inequalities. Yes, we have inherited a damaged society, but that was 30 years ago. An entire generation has been born since democracy began. These young people, the born frees, deserve better than to be told their suffering is still apartheid's fault. The truth is that apartheid ended, but exploitation continued. The exploiters changed color, but the exploitation remained. In some ways, it has become worse because it was done in the name of liberation, making it harder to criticize without being accused of betraying the struggle. Behind every rand stolen lies a human story of suffering. When 250 million rand meant for school nutrition disappears into private pockets, children go hungry. When hospital budgets are looted, patients die. When housing funds are diverted, families remain in shacks. The political elite live in Sandton and Constantia, while the people they claim to serve live in Alexandra and Khayelitsha. They send their children to private schools overseas, while public schools lack basic textbooks. They receive private healthcare, while public hospitals struggle with shortages of everything from bandages to life-saving medicines. This is not the legacy that our freedom fighters died for. Chris Hani did not sacrifice his life so that his comrades could become millionaires. Steve Biko did not die in police custody so that future leaders could die in luxury, funded by public money, from the very taxpayers they claim to fight for. Oliver Tambo did not spend decades in exile so that his successors could exile the people from their own government. What makes South Africa's post-apartheid corruption particularly devastating is how systematic and institutionalized it has become. This is not just about individual bad apples, though there are plenty of those. This is about entire systems that were designed to extract wealth from your state, the state. We've got cadre deployment, the policy of placing party loyalists in key positions regardless of their competence, which has created a network of incompetence and corruption throughout the state. Loyalty to the party has become more important than service to the people. The result is that institutions staffed by people who see their positions as rewards rather than responsibilities. You've got factional politics now. The ANC's internal battles have turned state institutions into spoils of war. Each faction seeks to control key positions, not to improve governance, but to access resources. The people's business takes second place to party business. As long as they get your vote, they're fine. The failure to prosecute corruption as well has created a culture where stealing from the state is seen as a perk of office rather than a crime. When consequences are rare, corruption becomes routine. Perhaps the most insidious aspect, though, of post-apartheid exploitation is how it has been wrapped in the language of liberation and transformation. Corruption is rebranded as radical economic transformation. Incompetence is excused as learning on the job. Cronyism is defended as empowering the previously disadvantaged. This linguistic manipulation they try to use against you insults the intelligence of ordinary South Africans who can see the difference between genuine transformation and downright lies. Not only that, it is a spit in the face to you, the taxpayer, who pays this many taxes only to be lied to in the face on live television. The ANC has mastered the art of political theater, staging elaborate rallies where leaders shed crocodile tears over poverty while their bank accounts were growing fat from public resources they claim to cry for. They sing liberation songs while picking the pockets of the liberated. Our post-apartheid corruption has made us an international laughingstock. The same country that gave the world Nelson Mandela and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission now exports corruption scandals and failed governance models. International investors flee not because of apartheid legacy, but because of contemporary corruption. Credit rating agencies downgrade us not because of our past, but because of our present dysfunction. The rand weakens not under the weight of history like they want you to believe, but under the burden of contemporary incompetence. We have squandered the massive goodwill that accompanied our transition to democracy. The world celebrated our miracle, but now they study our dysfunction. No group has been more betrayed by post-apartheid governance than our youth. Young South Africans every day face unemployment rates exceeding 60%. They are more likely to be unemployed today than their parents were under apartheid. This is not because of apartheid legacy. This is because of contemporary failure. The born frees inherited freedom, but not opportunity. They received political rights, but not economic prospects. They can vote, but they cannot work. This is the real tragedy of our post-apartheid era, that we freed our politics but enslaved our economy to corruption and incompetence. Our youth don't need more promises or more blame shifting. They need jobs, quality education, and a government that serves their interests rather than elite interests. We are often presented with a false choice. Support the ANC because they are the ones that brought us freedom, or betray the liberation struggle. This is emotional blackmail designed to prevent accountability. The real choice is different. Do we want a government that serves the people, or one that serves itself? Do we want leaders who see public office as service or as self-service? Do we want democracy or kleptocracy? Holding our government accountable is not betraying the struggle. It is continuing the struggle. The fight for freedom did not end in 1994, it evolved. Today's struggle is against corruption, incompetence, and elite capture of the state, not only for black people, but for everyone else who is oppressed. But before I continue, I need to ask you a question. Are you genuinely tired of being fed lies by politicians and media? Because while you're stuck in echo chambers and shallow conversations, the elites are getting richer behind your back and you are getting left behind. Not because the world is rigged against you or anything, but simply because you haven't learned about or gotten the proper mental tools to get yourself that far ahead in life, especially if you're a young person watching this. This is why you must join the Realm of Reason Discord server, where young free thinkers cut through the propaganda fog and learn what really matters and what will benefit them in the future. In the Realm of Reason, you get politics without propaganda. You get economic lessons without excuses. You get philosophy without fluff and meaningful debates. You connect with ambitious minds, challenge conventional wisdom, ask any questions, and discover the deep lessons that they don't want you to know. You have no censorship in the Realm of Reason, no groupthink, just pure intellectual freedom. Are you ready to think for yourself? Then join the Realm of Reason Discord server. The link is in the description. And if this opened your mind, even by a crack, smash that like button and subscribe for content that actually makes you think. Your future self will thank you. So how do we break this cycle of exploitation disguised as liberation? How do we reclaim our democracy from those who have done nothing but capture it? First, we must reject the politics of excuse making. Every time a politician blames apartheid for contemporary failures, we must ask ourselves, what have you done with 30 years of power? Every time corruption is excused as transformation, we must resist on real transformation that benefits ordinary people. Why? Second, we must demand competence over connection. Public positions should go to those best qualified to serve the public, not those best connected to power. Merit must matter more than party membership. Comment "the" if you agree with me. Third, we must get our votes strategically. Parties must earn our support through performance, not through emotional blackmail and appeals to liberation history. Our votes are not inheritance to be passed down through generations. They are tools to be used for accountability. Fourth, we must support strong institutions over strong personalities. Courts, prosecutors, auditors, oversight bodies must be independent and effective. No one should be above the law, regardless of their liberation credentials and who their grandfather was. Real freedom is not just the absence of apartheid, it is the presence of opportunity, dignity, and hope. Real freedom means children can attend quality schools, regardless of their parents' wealth or the color of their skin. Real freedom means patients receive quality healthcare because it is their right, not their privilege. Real freedom means young people can find work based on their talents, not their connections. We have political freedom, but we lack economic freedom. We have formal equality, but not substantive equality. We have the right to vote, but not the right to prosper. The government has confused means with ends. Democracy was supposed to be the means to deliver a better life for all. It was not supposed to be an end in itself that justifies any behavior by the rulers. Fellow South Africans, we stand at a crossroads. We can continue down the path of excuse-making and decline, or we can choose the harder path of accountability and renewal. We can accept that liberation leaders have a right to loot the state, or we can continue to insist that liberation creates obligations, not entitlements. We can continue to be grateful for 1994 while ignoring the failures of 2025, or we can honor 1994 by demanding that its promises are fulfilled. The choice is yours. Our democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires active citizenship, constant vigilance, and the courage to speak truth to power. To our leaders, the Sambit says this: your liberation credentials do not entitle you to your resources. Your historical role does not justify your contemporary failures. Your past experiences do not excuse your present selfishness. You were elected to serve, not to be served. You were trusted with the power to uplift the people, not to enrich yourselves. You were given mandates to deliver, not licenses to steal. Apartheid ended 30 years ago, but our struggle for true freedom continues. We have defeated racial oppression, but we have not yet defeated economic exploitation. We removed an unjust government, but we have not yet achieved just governance. The time has come to complete our liberation, not just from apartheid, but from all forms of oppression, including the oppression of corruption, incompetence, and elite capture. We owe it to those who died for our freedom to ensure that their sacrifice was not in vain. We owe it to our children to leave them a country of opportunity, not just a country of political rights. We owe it to ourselves to demand better, to vote for better, and to build better. The Rainbow Nation remains possible, but only if we stop the pot of gold from being stolen by the leprechauns who claim to be its guardians. Thank you, and may we find the courage to reclaim our democracy from those who have captured it. Amandla! Oh, I thought you were going to finish it off for a second. But let that power truly belong to the people, not to those who exploit them in freedom's name. My name is the Sambit, and like always, I'll see you next time.